and sisters. How is everybody today? Good. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about something that we're all deeply involved with, and that's the Canada Pension Plan. A lot of times our lives are so busy that we don't actually stop and take a look at what's going on, and if we don't, it can be really troublesome. How many people think they're working too hard nowadays? How many people think that they're paying too much in gas? At the end of the day, there's really not much left on your paycheck, is there? How many people have kids that are still living at home that are over 23? Right, so there you go. So it's very costly, and you know, we're only trying to make it through day by day, but there's one thing for certain. There's going to be taxes and more taxes. We're all going to retire someday, and we're all going to die. Not necessarily in that order, of course, right? But when you start thinking about retirement and your pension plan, in Canada right now there are 1.6 million people living below $15,000 a year. Now, you know, you ask yourself, wow, that's a lot. But can you imagine if you had to live with $15,000 a year? Could you do it? But there are 1.6 million people in Canada that are. 1/3 of the population aged between 24 and 64 have no RRSPs, right? That's no retirement, because their lives are so busy, their lives, it's so difficult to make ends meet that they're just concentrating on making it day by day. For the first time ever, public service pensions, defined benefit pensions, are outnumbering private sector pensions. Because in the private sector, it's an attack on the workers. The private sector say that they can't afford the defined benefit pension plan, so they're attacking all the workers' pension plans left, right, and center. Air Canada is one of them, many others. So what are we as a union, as a social conscious, going to do about it? Well, with the CAW, in conjunction with the Canadian Labour Congress, we've come up with a 3-point plan. One is doubling the CPP, 2 is increasing the old age security and guaranteed income supplement, and 3 is the pension insurance. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, doubling the CPP is really easy, and it makes logical sense depending on who you talk to. Currently, right now, we pay 4.95% up to a maximum of $47,500 on our income that goes towards our Canada Pension Plan. So sometime around September or October, your paychecks are a little bigger because you've hit that cap, and that money now that you've paid into the pension plan will now, or those contributions will now go on to your paycheck. But what we want to do is we want to increase them slightly, up to 7%. Not all at once, but gradually through a series of 4 to 5 years. So the first year you could pay 4.95%. The second year, 5%, 6%, and so forth. The second one is increasing old age security and GIS. The Conservative government has increased it by $300 million, which is about $1.35 a day. But we need to improve more because too many seniors are living in poverty right now. They're choosing between food and medication. And 3, pension insurance. We don't ever want to see what happened to Nortel happen to anybody else. So we want to guarantee that there's a set level of minimum protection for those people whose pension plans are in trouble. So what are we going to do about this? Well, we're going to keep pressure on the government. We want to make sure that they implement this plan. We were so close last year. The federal government, the Conservatives, actually agreed with us. And then when they went up to Whitehorse after the meeting with the finance ministers, they turned around and betrayed us and went with private pooled pension plans. And in the end, how does this help? It helps women, workers of color, and people on disability because they are the most vulnerable. And what we need to do as a social union is education, communication, tell our friends, family, and workers. And if you need more information, you can actually contact any one of us on the UPC or contact the Canadian Labour Congress. We'll be glad to actually give you information, education, and even, or if you need a speaker, come to your district hall and make a speech. That's about it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tim. It's great to hear. Folks have probably heard lots of times over the last few years what's happening with Canada Pension and what Labour's improvements or what we see as improvements to the pension plan in Canada. And again, we can't stress enough that with a majority government, we're going to have to really start to push back. The Conservatives tricked us back in December when they said that they were interested in looking at what we had proposed, and then they came out with their own plan, which is nothing that will help workers or those that are drawing on the Canada Pension Plan currently. So we are going to now hear from Baghel from the Atlantic region, the best region.